Me. How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? I like scotch. Scotch. Oh, we're live. Hello. So it feels like every time I do this, I look back and it's like, man, I haven't been live in a while. Really? Oh, shit. Look at me. I'm an amateur, guys. That was me. I needed to notify me when I was going to go live. Okay. And also, it helps to have both chats up. So, welcome. I know when I just start the stream, in real time. It takes a moment for people to see it. YouTube has been strange since all of the what is it? The terms of service have kind of changed and got re-upped. I don't know if you guys know the this YouTuber. He's got like 12 million subscribers. Penguins. What's oh shit? Bert Gummer. I haven't seen you in a hot minute. By the way, hello to Queen Survivor and D Libby. This is the fam. Oh gee, Bert, where have you been, man? And by the by, I've been talking to Josh. Everybody knows Josh. If you don't know Josh, that's the mentor, the man, the myth, the legend. Without Josh, there'd be no Eli on YouTube. And I know that would make too many people happy. So, go screw yourself. What's up, Pooh, aka DJ Briggs, Crystal Marie, Cindy D, My Son's Life Mattered. Thank you for the correspondence and all that. I'm trying to always do a little better than I did before. So something I've learned, like when I was too tired from work and I went on from the phone, couldn't get out of bed after the 10-hour shift. Here's the world's smallest violin. Do you hear it? Now we're gonna do the ASMR hour. Do y'all remember that? When I was a new kid on the block, people told me they liked my ASMR. That's not a thing. But yeah, so let me get some things prepped. I do have my brother from another mother, RJ. If y'all remember him, he is the Army veteran. What was it that he did? He'll tell you. He's in the background right now, probably frothing at the mouth that he can't intercede for himself. The combat specialist artillery. Brought the artillery. Okay, that's my boy. And then we're gonna see my other homeboy, Forging Thought, who I hope is here. Hey, what's up, Barebones? I haven't seen in a bit, man. I stepped away a little bit from true crime and from a lot of things. I'm finding my own peace. Things have been interesting on these YouTube streets, let me tell you, but it takes some willpower to really learn how to keep any sort of peace of mind and to stay away from drama, even if the drama wants to find you. This is all I'm going to mention about this specific topic. I did my best to what I thought was right, and I went to go and try to help somebody, guys. I tried to help somebody, and some people just don't want to be helped, or if they get the help, they'll scorn you for it, and or it's just not the right kind of help, and that there's just and then they got their own problems and their own enemies. You get involved, and then it's a lose-lose. So I people will make their own uh, conclusions on that matter, but that matter to me is no longer discussed. You move forward in life. You don't focus on the back in the rear view. What's up, bass girl? Not bass as in the fish. And yeah, hey, I know you know bare bones. And what's up, Sean? All right, so I'm gonna bring up RJ, and I've found some stuff that I just find interesting. Aside from having my brother from another mother, I'm gonna pop him up right here. Sweet Pea, holy but Jesus! Oh no, that's what I call RJ in private. Sweet Pea is just the nickname. No, Sweet Pea is kind of an OG. When I started on here, she joined in. I think that's a fellow veteran as well. More than welcome, Sweet Pea. It's great to see you. MC. Oh, you saw me on Big Weebies. Much love, man. Much respect. So, no disrespect to the lovely, lovely chat. Thank you all for being here. RJ, meet chat. Chat, meet RJ. RJ, what are you doing on my channel, bro? What the hell do you want?
Oh, first I'm gonna correct you. I was not fucking artillery.
Okay, no, you did something with the things and the stuff. Can you confirm for the viewers, please?
I was a combat engineer, so I did route clearance, and I worked with some peoples, and I did some things.
Yep, you did a lot of things, and to get anybody that has not yet met you up to speed, you're in practice, private practice for the time being, for veterans that need some sort of outreach and first responders.
That is correct. I work as a therapist for first responders and military.
I find okay. So me hearing that, I find that to sound like kind of like a dream job, cathartic. If I was to, like, personally, when it comes to mental health, which has been something I struggled with for a long time, and I know you can empathize, my dream job would be to be able to go and work with people that are suffering from things like that or addiction so I could try to help. I'm not saying I'd be the best person to. Is it what it is when I think of it to you? Is it a dream job?
Yes and no, because like you, when you stated, hey, even when somebody you give somebody to help, they scorn you. It is a thankless job.
There, I'm giving you the squirrel moment, okay? RJ, by the way, guys, he had shared with me that every time I put a comment up, he just could not resist reading it and stopping what he's doing. Forging will be up in a minute. So we're gonna play a game. If you guys have something you really want to say, just pop it right there, and we're gonna play a game. All right. If you're a drinker, I'm not a drinker. I'm still 1 month, and I'm losing track. Six,
Wait,
seven
wait, wait.
days.
If we're doing drinking games, I need to go get me a drink.
If you, brother, you're all about that. What does what mean, Sweet Pea? Please clarify. I don't know,
Special
because
operations, something or other. That's what it was popped up.
oh, that was her. Sweet Pea is a fellow veteran of. I am not a veteran. RJ's a veteran. Forging Thought, who will be joining, he's a veteran. But I know Sweet Pea did some military time, I believe Air Force, but I don't want to be falsely representing. Okay, but yeah, this is which Predators and Reapers. I don't know what.
Air Force Special Operation Command, Predators and Reapers. Now that could be the drones. It could be the actual thing. I don't know. I didn't hang out with the Air Force guys.
Okay, word. I don't know any of the jargon. So okay, trying to stay on. Oh, and yeah, one more thing. If you guys want to say something in the chat and you want to see how easily this man is distracted, feel free to chime in. I'll pop it right up there, and we'll see how quickly we can make him lose his train of thought. Okay, and if he loses his train of thought successfully, if you're a drinker unlike myself for the time being, shoot one back, and let's see how you're looking at the end of it. Hi, Jessa. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. It is nice to have you. All right, so this job, we went over this the first time I had you. I identified that I think this job has saved your life. Would you agree with that?
It's a part of the process.
And
Basically, when I went in, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I started out as doing nursing and stuff. Like I wanted to be a trauma nurse, working in the ER and the trauma hawk, getting on and doing the really hard calls, and hopefully getting the opportunity to work on people. I fell in love with psychology in my last part of my first year of schooling, and then I just swapped over majors, and it was ever since then. It was awesome because the mind is an incredible tool. It could be the best thing for you or the worst thing for you.
I'm very familiar with it being my worst enemy. But I do feel like, I mean, I hate the adage like it's life is like a fine wine. Things get better with age. I don't fully buy into that, but you are able to strengthen the tool, so to speak. Things that I don't think I would be able to handle that I was using, and I've heard criticism because I bring this up so much. I'm proud that I don't drink anymore right now, and the tool that is my mind does seem to be a little sharper and stronger, dealing with the problems I used to. So yes, sharpening this tool that we have is what my life has become, and I'm trying to use this channel as any means of outreach. But I'm going to go on a rant. You are my panel guest. You mentioned two things that are pretty close to the chest for you that I want to understand better from your, can I say, clinician's point of view. You bring up the European and what the Filipino model of veteran care or health care in general.
Portugal and Philippine model,
All right,
and it has to do with addiction. And right now, America is up on the precipice of basically financially. We'll talk more about the financial issues with the insurance companies not providing enough care for people, only giving them 2 weeks, 3 weeks at most. Um,
I'm sorry
then
to
we
interrupt. I always acknowledge when
sorry.
somebody sends thanks to support the channel. Thank you, Sweet Pea. I think Sweet Pea, by the way, I remember you're the very first person to ever utilize the super chat function when I first started here. So thank you for helping the weary veteran souls. Thank you, RJ. Please continue about the which model were we talking? Okay, the financial aspect. This is a country of consumerism, and
Right,
I
we're
see how things are
capitalistic to
advertised
the max.
highly. But when all right, so when you a veteran, and I think I don't want to get political, but I look at you as an independent that kind of leans more right. Are you saying that our capitalistic structure is harming our healthcare?
Yes, it is. It's harming our healthcare, and I never thought I would ever say that. But when we look at the how people are solving the opioid epidemic that is going on right now, uh, this is where I'm talking about the Portugal and Philippine model. The Philippine model is if you're addicted to any substance, there is no judge, jury, nothing. You're executed on the street almost immediately if you're found in possession of any kind of substances. The Portugal model is actually very forward thinking. They're going to provide housing, but it's up to that person to do what they will for everything else.
Can I offer a perhaps turn of phrase, and if you don't find it to fit the bill, let me know. But when you say forward thinking, can I say progressive? It's not. I know progressive has been perverted here. I don't mean like AOC and all those shills, but is it a progressive?
Well, it's progressive in a good way. Then, yeah.
While we're talking about this, hold that thought real quick. My
Mm-hmm.
brother Forging is here, and I'm very excited to have him here. Two of you combining. This is I'm feeling giddy like a schoolgirl. Oh my god! All right. I'll put the pom poms down. Everybody meet Forging.
Holy shit! I just heard Eli talking about pom poms being a schoolgirl. What the fuck did that come into?
Yeah,
I
we
don't
were just talking
know.
about Sailor Moon, bro. I'm sorry, RJ. Forging,
Ugh.
RJ.
What's up, bro?
RJ, how you doing, sir?
What's going on, bro?
Forging, would you be interested and comfortable giving any kind of feedback regarding your background to RJ and the audience?
Uh, Municipal firefighter, former retired recon marine, uh, second recon battalion, second Marines, out of Camp Lejeune, 4 times
Did
deployed.
his audio just cut out? Oh no, I'm sorry. My connection is weary. 4 times deployed. Did I cut you off? I
No, no,
apologize.
no. That's the last thing I said. Other than that, I'm a Pisces. I enjoy waffles, and I'm here.
Long walks on the beach.
Long
Beautiful
walk
day.
from the beach,
I
holding the
believe The
hand of.
Notebook to be a horror movie, so that's a little background on me.
So I would be interested in anything. Have you heard some of what RJ has been mentioning as somebody that's in the practice of helping Marines and other people that deal with traumatic events, first responders? How he has
I
worded
heard
that.
the very first couple minutes of it, but I've been getting online and I haven't heard the last 2 minutes. But
All right, RJ, would you mind? Oh, and let me put this up for you there, Forging.
Semper Fi.
And all right, so RJ, would you go ahead and describe again this progressive means of helping the people in Portugal? Progressive.
All right, so Portugal is assisting with housing, and for somebody that is they have their addiction full blown swing, they don't see it as a issue publicly. What it is if that person wants to get high, let them get high, do what they got to do, right? But they're going to provide them with housing. They're going to provide them with the basic needs and essentials, and then let them go about their life.
Mm-hmm.
It goes from being uh, a police state, like arresting them over and over again, making them to go to treatment, the whole 9 yards, uh, and just allowing them to live the way they want to. If they want to get help, they'll have the help. If they don't, they don't. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much where they're at. And America is at the precipice, and I believe in my heart that it's more like the Philippine model, but it's like a financial Philippine model by not allowing access for prolonged healthcare for people that have mental health issues or even addiction issues all on its own.
Right, right.
They financially execute you
Yes, because they don't
over
give you
here.
any timing.
They slowly drain you, and the things that you just mentioned that are offered, these are the things that are mostly effective for an addict, or I can only assume from your guys' perspectives, a returning veteran that would require that help. The first things that suffer the consequences is your housing situation, your job situation, your mental health. Those things kind of they take the front and center. So I see that as a huge positive. I wonder what a John Q. Citizen would think about that. What do you think about that in general, Forging? And I'm going to get Fetty on here as well.
There's there's a lot to be dissected about a lot of things. Everybody's individual account of wartime being if they were deployed or not. Everybody with PTSD issues, they're fighting a separate war within themselves that only they can understand. Finding a catch-all fix for everything really is difficult, and I feel like putting it in the individual's hands, it doesn't matter who it is, but putting it in their hands to say, here's the resources, you can take it or leave it, that's good and bad. Unfortunately, it's a lot of there's too many unknowns, and it's a like I was saying, finding a one fix all kind of attitude about things is difficult, and I think the U.S. has really been lacking in resources and how to figure out the best way to. I don't even know how to put it. How to figure out what people really need. They've done a lot of lip service on this is how we know veterans need to be fucking fixed, and that's a bunch of bullshit. They can't do that. It might be slightly off tangent of what you're talking about, but I've noticed, when I first came back, there was they tried to set me up with counselors who were not vets. They tried to set me up with civvy counselors who didn't know shit and tried telling me, well, this is maybe an option and this is maybe an option, and all I could think of in my head was, who the hell are you? And it made me closed off to any kind of help. And it wasn't until they kind of had me sit down with someone who was like, all right, you want to play checkers? And it just became someone to hang out with and talk with that I felt naturally able to open up to, that I started realizing my own shit. So until we figure out a way to properly get people in a state of mind where they can figure shit out for themselves and accept help, we're going to be stuck. And that's just my own opinion, because it seems like I know a lot of Army vets. I believe, RJ, you said you're Army, correct?
Yes.
I know that with certain branches, and it might be, you might agree, you might disagree, but certain branches, they do a much better job of re-educating and getting people ready to enter the civilian life better than the Marine Corps. There's a lot more job training in, say, the Air Force and things like that. I know that. For myself, one of the big issues with the Marine Corps is, you get trained on stuff, but for the better part of 8 years, if depending on what you sign up for, you're trained to, hey, this is what's going on. You're going to kill everything that moves, and your whole purpose is to protect the person next to you. They don't treat you they don't teach you how to go out into the main world and be like, hey, let's lawyer, or let's do this, let's do that. And that's a big issue, because you go from gung-ho bad motherfucker into John Q 9 to 5, and there's a big adjustment there that unfortunately they don't really prepare you for. So I feel like it's odd, but the civilian side and the military side, we got to figure out how to get that complex working together in conjunction. And I might just have rambled and said nothing, but it's a very difficult topic with a lot of different things going into it.
You said plenty, and I want to pull Fetty up here for a moment. Fetty, just pause for a second, because there's two things I want to say. Welcome, Fetty. And all right, so the first thing is, I like the idea of, when RJ brought up, we have the tools, like the things that are impacted. But also, you mentioned pretty well, Forging, is how do you help somebody that doesn't want help? But I feel like
doesn't know they need help.
That's a whole other thing there that I wouldn't even be able to wrap my head
also
around.
I see Sweet Pea said something in the comments that I wanted to address too, while not to cut you off, Eli, but when I first came back, one of the first things they did is they're like, oh, you need Klonopin, you need Zoloft, you need this. And what they did is they gave me a concoction of shit that made me watch cartoons and sit there drooling. And once I figured that out, that's what was going on, it only took me a couple days. That put me in a really dark spot. I already was in a tough spot, but I wasn't in a dark spot until the VA did that to me. And then that's when I was like, okay, well, they just want me to go away. And it put a lot of dark shit in my mind. So that's another thing we got to do, is get them to stop throwing pills at people. I think they've gotten better about that in the last several years. But, it is what it is. Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
You didn't. All good. And this I want to address right off rip here. Welcome, as whole prepper. I've never in my life stated that I have served. I wanted to be a Marine, then I was arrested, and that ended that dream. So thank you for the compliment on the topic. Moving ahead. RJ right here is a brother from another mother. I was there when he was done with, I think, boot camp, or when he was on leave, watching him try to reacclimate. it always just had me very invested in watching the process of kind of healing, and watching him during my own mental health issues was it was quite an experience. And we've been best friends since, I don't know, 2004. I don't know. Anyway, Fetty, welcome, brother. How you doing?
You good, brother? Yourself?
You know what? I wasn't feeling fantastic, but it is my day off. I got brothers right here. I got my family. I don't think I could be any more blessed. Feeling
That's
good.
right. Good stuff, brother. RJ, pleasure to meet
What's
you,
up,
buddy.
man?
Oh, and I did do some research after our little chat we had about the that big topic that I don't think I'm afraid to talk about whatsoever. I think a lot of YouTubers might be like, "Oh no, demonetization," but right now, as it stands, even though I'm pretty well versed in what the YouTube's new terms of service are, which I'd be happy to fill y'all in, or say just go look for Penguins06, and he has a whole hour video about it. I don't mind talking about this revamping of COVID, but we'll get to that. Otherwise, Fetty, have you been able to hear some of the stuff what we were discussing?
Yeah, I've been listening to a little bit of it. I just got on just a little bit ago. Um, yeah, definitely. Like Forging said, I mean, it's so multifaceted. It's. I mean, I can't speak on a military aspect, but
You had your own
freaking
reacclimation, a readjustment yourself, just from a
yeah,
different
I mean,
perspective.
spending 13 years in there, I mean, incarcerated, and then coming home in 2010, after going in when I was 18, coming home at 31, learning how to be a man and hold down a job um, and so forth. Um, when I
Kid.
came home, come here, mama. When I came home, it's when I was in there, they tried to drug me up, and um, deal with my anger with medication, and I would refuse to take it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. And finally at one point I did start taking some medication, and I couldn't stand the way it made me feel. I stopped taking it immediately. You know what I mean? And there's just so many different aspects that go into all that. There's not a one stop shop, and I truly believe in my heart, man, unless somebody really wants to help, they're not going to accept it. I mean, that's just where I've come to realize.
What do we all feel as a collected panel here about the individual? Because I have let myself forget what it's like to be that guy that doesn't realize they need the help. I forgot that. I remember when I was deep in my addiction, when mental illness was completely just ruining my life and controlling me. I was not in control. I needed to be reminded, told, and showed like it was heavy rubbed in my face. I needed help. How does one address that? That's an open question. I don't know that I have the answer. I think whatever your support network is, your family, your friends, choosing a YouTube channel would not be my first recommendation, but hopefully people that care about you. I mean, what do you all think with your experience? I'm sure we were all that guy.
Well,
I mean, speaking
oh,
from my experience, it didn't matter what anybody said to me. I had to go down a very dark path and go through some very deep shit to realize that's not the life I wanted to live anymore. Um, there was a lot of people that tried to talk to me, but nobody was going to tell me anything that I was going to listen to. Um, but everybody's different. Like some people may take encouragement and it may help them. They may go, yeah, you know what, you're right. Some people just, go in one ear and out the other. Um, I've been in that situation where I've been trying to help somebody and, it's they could kind of see they wanted to help, but they weren't sure and they just kept stringing it along. And that's a difficult situation to be in, especially if it's not a family member, because it takes a lot of energy out of you. But like I said,
Mm.
until somebody's really ready, I just don't think it's
Here's
no
yeah.
matter how much you tell them, it's gonna.
I was gonna say this. It if I could recommend one thing to anybody who's trying to help somebody who's reacclimating into the civilian world, or I don't know the prison world, but I'd imagine it's kind of the same. What you need to say is you need to fucking listen. You don't need to say shit. You need to you need to figure out how to get the individual. First of all, how the individual is going to build trust in you in order to trust in you enough to say something. and learn that it's okay to talk to you. That's one part of it, but you need to listen. The biggest problem I had was I immediately would think people were talking to me when they were trying to, quote, counsel me. It would be, this is what we know for you. We're telling you how it is. We know what you need. We know how we need to treat you, instead of, hey, bro, how you doing? Talk to us. What's going on? What'd you see? You want to talk about fishing? You want to talk about this? Once I built trust in an individual enough to talk, it came pouring out of me. And that's when it became therapeutic. I didn't trust anybody. I didn't think I could talk to anybody. And I was also dealing with other stuff. My daughter was sick, and I was dealing with that. So there was a lot of shit going on with that. So I was hitting it on multifaceted kind of guarding myself, and it ended up manifesting itself in a shitty way. Um, I became really recluse. I fucking hated everybody. I mean, a I was a perfect example of a misanthrope. I thought humanity was disgusting, and the only people I could connect with and that I thought were worth a damn were the kids I was working with at the hospital, my daughter, and the individuals who were caring for them, nurses, doctors. So my circumstances might be a little more unique than other people's because I was dealing with two different fronts to fight. But I mean, shit. I did a parody a couple years ago. I'll find the recording and put it up on my channel or something. But I did a parody of the song "The Kids Aren't All Right" by The Offspring, and in the chorus I
I
said,
love it.
"The world won't see. I left a war behind that won't leave me." There's a lot of shit that unfortunately people think they see that they don't see, and they want to inject themselves in a veteran's issues. They want to inject themselves in anybody who has reacclimation problems or something. They say, in a nutshell, it's like, we know what's going on with you. This is what it is, and this is how we're going to help you. Instead of just saying, how can we help you? Let us listen. Say whatever the hell you want. Um, so it's figuring out how to build that trust and just listen instead of telling anything.
Now, I want to bring it right to RJ, but I do want to acknowledge hearing two things from you: how much of a egotistical thing it must feel like when somebody is like, I know what's best for you. That's why you have to listen, which must be an absolutely insulting approach after you've served your country. And you're the first person to be able to articulate what I was able to witness firsthand on a daily basis with my brother RJ when he returned. He had a hatred I've never seen manifested for civilians. A famous thing that I recite over and over. Him and I were just walking through my trailer park. We passed just some kid around our age, early 20s, playing basketball, and RJ just went into a random tangent like, this motherfucker, look at him just playing like he didn't say like,
Well,
hey,
it's not
playing
it's not a hatred. I don't want anybody to think I hated civilians. It was just I would notice certain behaviors that it would in individuals that would disgust me, or I would just and it was probably just me not realizing why the hell I felt certain ways and getting mad at that. But there's certain things that people take for granted, I would say, that I started noticing. And it's the same, after my daughter passed, it was things, I would see people walking across the street with their kids in a crosswalk, and I'd get fucking jealous and angry. Um, on the 4th of July, for the first several years I was back, I had a real big issue. I'd be working downtown Portland security, and I would, something would go off that wasn't expected to go off, some big, mortar or something, and I'd freak the fuck out and, jump behind a damn car and not realize why I was doing it and burst into tears and all this horrible shit that I had trouble articulating for a long fucking time. And I would get mad at people who would just look at me and be like, what's this guy's fucking problem? It became of like, I didn't want to be that guy, but I found myself going into that, like, you don't fucking know, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're so blessed, you got this easy ass life. And I started getting angry, and I don't feel like I have the right to do that. So it became like a self doubt, and there was too many questions within myself. So I wouldn't say that I hated civilians. It was just something that came up that I couldn't really explain, that it was a behavior I didn't like about myself.
How much is that of a nail on the head for you, RJ, from when I was articulating from what I witnessed?
It's actually really accurate. That what I felt inside, I couldn't express. I didn't know, other than just anger. And that was what I felt at all times, most of the time when I saw people, just, doing about their day. He hit it right on the head.
Do you remember the memory I always tell others, because there was only a few instances I've never witnessed, like it. Just somebody doing nothing but whatever it is they're doing, and then such a strong reaction, even to the point where where I said in privately, I was worried you may hurt somebody or yourself. But yeah, it wasn't hatred, it's just an anger at yourself.
Because that dude was just chilling, probably playing basketball. I couldn't fucking chill and play basketball. You know what I mean?
Well, and
You were
being in
fighting your
combat,
own
especially, if you're in the military, it's one thing, but if you're in combat, it adds a whole different thing to it. You learn different behaviors, and you have certain training. Like, I still to this day have a problem whenever I see somebody in their car late at night and it's dark, and they have their freaking dome light on in their car, and I can see them from half a mile away. I want to run up to them and tell them why it's a security issue. There's just certain things you notice, and there's just weird shit that you notice, and weird things that make you fucking angry. It's like, why the hell don't you see this? It's so fucking obvious, and it puts you in a weird state of mind of security and just knowing what's going on in the world around you that makes you. I don't even know how to put it, man. RJ, can you? Because I'm gonna start like saying words that makes it sound like I'm being a dick, and maybe I am. I don't know.
Well, so most military members, and I'm going to use most and all this other stuff as a general broad term, but we are programmed, and that's what happens in boot camp and all this shit. We're programmed to elicit certain reactions.
Situational awareness.
Situational awareness. Half the people don't even know how many people are, when you walk into a building, how many people are actually somewhat you believe that are be carrying, how many people aren't carrying, just by how their angle, how they keep checking their waist, how they move.
When you're ordering food in a restaurant, do you notice if the people next to you are right-handed or left-handed? It's fucking stupid shit that you start to notice.
And it's go ahead.
Sorry, no, I actually remember how you would gauge a room when we were hanging out, going to parties and all that, when you were dealing with all these demons, and it was it's the closest I could get to trying to see that other side that I'll never ever understand. I'd see how you'd look at the corners and check certain areas. It's like there's still an active battle going on in your mind, and I was just there doing my best to be the best friend I could, to try to bring you back and hopefully not see you as angry and all that. But so we identify a lot of things that are our tormentors. What is the best thing for both of you, Fetty, for you, and being back into society? What are the first steps to be healed, aside from acknowledging that you need healing?
That's the first thing. I need help.
Right.
How do I, talk to me. Tell me what, tell me how, not tell me. Ask me how I'm feeling. Ask me these, like random stupid questions. Like he's saying, before he opened up, somebody just played checkers with him.
Yep.
So for veterans, if you aren't a combat veteran, you aren't, this criteria, whatever this criteria we have in our head, you don't know shit. And when you start talking to the people, they actually do know. It's just they have a different life perspective, not like the time when some things happened. I'm losing my shit.
It's okay, dude. It's okay, and I know you're still getting used to like doing this.
Yeah.
And by the way, audience, RJ has articulated that he'd like to. I use that word too much. He'd like to maybe do this a little bit more often. Can you guys describe what? I don't know the acronyms. I have no military experience. I was oversight, but a small FOB. I hate it. What's TIC?
Forward Operation Base, yeah. And TIC is
tactical something. Uh-oh. I get nervous at silence. I'll just start talking.
No.
There was something that I wanted to touch on with what you asked your boy here is.
Feel free.
There's something like when I used to get angry, and I try not to do this anymore, but I'm a very blunt individual.
Yeah, you are.
I tend not to sugarcoat things because I feel like life is way too short to sugarcoat shit. You should tell everybody what's on your mind, and I want people to see life for exactly what it is, to a fault. It's all part of my chipper fucking behavior. But when people used to anger me and they'd say, I don't get it. Why are you're so closed off? You don't understand things. I asked one of the counselors who tried working with me one time, I broke down because they tried talking to me very condescendingly and like, well, maybe you should approach this and maybe you should approach this. It's like maybe you should just fucking listen. And I asked them, I'm like, do you know what the fuck in the inside of a human being's head smells like? And that question made them very uncomfortable. And I'm like, you have just experienced the reality of what it is to know things and feel a certain way. These are things that I wish I didn't know because ignorance truly is bliss. There's a thing that happens in civilian life where because you aren't exposed to certain things, life is much more pleasant. Going into a restaurant and immediately wanting to be seated in the back of a restaurant where you can see all exits, taking notice of these things, noticing when you're in the back of a fucking restaurant or a bar and looking at like, what, it's 80 degrees outside. Why is that dude wearing a parka? I need to let somebody know. It just shit like that you fight within your fucking head.
And you
It
feel
ain't
like
cool. It's not fucking cool.
Just like you articulated, you get a panic and you're like, who do I have to let somebody know? And then
not a panic. It's just a hypervigilance that you wish you didn't have to fucking know. It would be
It's
very
not
nice
like
to
a
not
panic.
have to deal with these things because life becomes easier when you're ignorant of it.
Right.
Here, Fetty, I'm sure you definitely relate to some of these things here because being on the inside where you have to watch your back and look over your shoulder everywhere. I'm sure, like your first meal, what was it like when you first got out? What were some of the things that were your identified as your immediate challenges?
Definitely. I mean, crowds. Being around a lot of people. Um, going to a mall, anything like that was out of the question for me. Um, you know, the lack of respect that people out here have. Um, and the way they treat others was a real trigger for me. Road rage was really hard for me when I came home. Being in traffic in California and LA and just the way people drove. Um, but I mean, just like Fortune was just talking about, like I still do that to this day. Like, when I go into a restaurant, I sit in the corner where I can see all exits and like you said, it's not. I mean, I do suffer from post traumatic stress disorder, and I do have panic attacks, but that's not when you're in that situation. Like you said, it's more just hyper vigilant, being aware of your surroundings. Um, I guess for me, it's because I know what kind of people are out there in the world, and I just I mean I being where I was at, so I'm always on the lookout for something bad. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but
It makes perfect sense.
so yeah, I mean, it's similar situations, just seen and dealt with much different things. I would never compare what I went through to what our servicemen have endured. Um, watching people die in front of me, absolutely. I've seen people get stabbed to death right in front of me, 10 feet from me. Was the first time I saw somebody stabbed to death in front of me. Um, Having to stab people myself and watch some air flighted off the yard and shit, and just different shit like that. Um, Riots where they're shooting live rounds out of a Mini 14 in the ground next to you. You know what I mean? Just haven't seen people get shot and killed on the yard by the Mini 14 during a riot. I've seen my own things. Guys hanging themselves. You know what I mean? Hanging from a vent, shit like that. So, um, it's just a different type of obviously, but you still come home with a lot of after effects and shit that bothers you and triggers you and makes you uncomfortable. Um, our brother Irish down there has dealt with both of them. I see him in the chat. He served this great nation and also went to prison for I think over a decade for sure, 14, 15 years. So he's dealt with both sides of it.
Wow. I
Um,
like okay, I see massive similarities, so please I sometimes it gets me in hot water when I try my best to use empathy to put myself in shoes and find things that I relate to and relate them to what I'm hearing so I can basically do my best to have a understanding of the human condition. So when I haven't gone through these experiences you guys have, I've gone through my own crap, but anxiety to me was a version of hyper awareness that I didn't want. If
Love
I
you,
were to
Irish.
walk into a room that was crowded when my anxiety was active. I hated that my peripherals could catch too much and whatnot. So I mean, that's the best I can do to relate. But to have the kind of terror that somebody might be here to help to hurt me, no wonder why it's so traumatic to carry with you and to get reacclimated. So what the question I keep returning to, and I guess how we started was, how do you help? How do you address these things? I guess the first thing we've come to, without a doubt, is acknowledging you need the help and finding somebody that's willing and able to help appropriately,
And then
not condescendingly.
once you do that, you need to acknowledge the individual needs, because it is very much an individual needs thing. There's much different aspects. There's much different things that are going to be needed, and much different resources that need to be available for, a vet who didn't see action versus someone who saw combat, or as one of your commenters said earlier, troops in contact, someone who has to call that in. If you have a tick call, it's been kind of abused lately, but if you're just at a fob that nothing happens. I mean, I've dealt with people who come back and they say they have PTSD, and then I get angry. I find myself getting angry with them because they're like, I was at Camp Leatherneck and blah blah blah. And then it's in 2012. I'm like, man, ain't nothing fucking going on. Like what the fuck you mean? Like, when I was there wasn't nothing there. Now you're telling me there's a fucking monorail and a subway there? Like, I get angry. And we shouldn't do that, but identifying the individual needs of whoever it is and what their issues are, that's what it's going to take, because otherwise you end up with that judgmental attitude like I had with certain people. Like, you didn't see the same things as me, or you don't know the same things as me, so what is it? And I had to accept that and realize that certain people haven't seen the same things, and that's what anybody on the civilian side of it, or anybody in general, needs to do, is just identify individual needs in someone and then have the resources available to tackle those needs once they're identified. That's all it breaks down to.
Is this too hyperbolic of me, with hearing the struggles you guys have to basically overcome to have a regular day-to-day life? I think it would be a fantastic idea for our presidents to have mandatory military service. I think, I just think it would help them with sympathy, compassion, and empathy. What do you think? Is that a wild idea?
I think anybody that has the power to give and make laws should serve.
See, I don't think that's a radical thought, and I am somebody who has not served. And I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat that's engaging and having their own conversations and just throwing the support out there for this. I very much appreciate everybody taking their time to do this.
I would definitely input that answering a call that's greater than yourself is something that it really builds character and a lot of personal growth. And saying that, I know, I served with Marines who are complete shitbags, and I admit that. It's not exactly, I'm not going to sit here and say, the military will automatically make you a good person. It's not true, but it is what it is.
I will read maybe a couple of the comments from any veterans out there. Sweet Pea being one of the first people to support me when I came out here as Progressive Patriot. I was the only female on Spec Ops. FOB, I'm not familiar with, and I'm sure that it's a regular term. What is it?
Forward Operating Base.
Fort Operating Base. Fenty and Chapman, and got shot at daily. I do have legitimate PTSD. I see. I can't relate to.
And that's the big part of being deployed and being somewhere, and it's the unknown of what's going to happen next. The everything's chill. You're talking about fishing, or someone's giving an anecdote about their girlfriend, and then all of a sudden you're taking, incoming or something. You're driving along in a convoy in fucking Jalalabad, and then all of a sudden your Humvee's on its fucking roof. There's just all kinds of weird shit that you never know if it's coming.
Having that state of readiness, like not being able to be turned off, I can see as being exhausting psychologically and just in general. Yeah, and I can only use my pathetic mental illness experiences that I couldn't turn off when I wanted to as a comparison. But I really understand better hearing it from the three of you articulating these things.
Well, the three things that we have in common is we're institutionalized. We know certain things. We know, where to eat, where to sleep, food, clothing, shelter, etc. All the basic needs. And then now, what is the job? For some people, it's, running with the crew, making money somehow. Us, it's security. Mm-hmm. What I like to say, for me and my experience in Afghanistan, is all the prison mates, or the prison inmates, if you will, ran the outside. All the guards were in the fob because we were the only ones with guns and everything else, and we had to go out there and amongst them, and try to police them up, even though we really didn't do anything.
What was the, because I see this with, I know a couple of veterans. You're the one I'm closest to. And I think I have a general understanding, but the want to go back to it. It's usually with those that are in the midst of having that anger with them. Even people that have been through the prison system, there seems to be some crazy urge that they want to return, maybe because it's what they once knew and only knew. Was it a comfort zone, even though you always had to be engaged and at the ready? Maybe your brain misses that stimuli. Like, do you think I'm onto something here?
You're actually really accurate. If we look at primitive human brains, once the combat, if you've been prolonged in a post-traumatic stress event for long enough times, your nerve set points are way high.
Mm-hmm.
And they stay that way for 18 to 36 months until you can start, de-escalating. And then at some point, you're going to get what I call the fuck it stage or Adonia stage, where you just don't give a shit about anything. You could jump out of a plane and be like, meh.
Ding, ding, ding.
And it's just
hey, I sent Iris the link, Patriot, because he's Army and he has relevant information. He's a good cat. Love that dude.
I appreciate that because I didn't want to put it out there, but thank you for doing that.
Yep.
Fetty, was there something you were about to say? Otherwise, I was gonna.
Oh, you put it on the main chat. That's cool.
No, I deleted it. But it's still there with it. Yeah, I retracted it. Doesn't matter.
Definitely. Speaking on that, as far as from a prison standpoint, like me, I had done a lot of time in the security housing unit. You're locked down 23 hours a day. You get to go to the shower into a little concrete yard for, an hour a day, and the rest of the time you're locked away. I was in the Pelican Bay SHU for 3.5 years. That was the longest in one time that I did in isolation. And literally I always did cell living. So everything you own, anything that means anything to you, as far as a physical, object, is right there within arm's reach. To this day, anything that means anything to me, any value that's important, is within arm's reach. It's on my nightstand or in the drawer of my nightstand. It doesn't leave that site. So it's you like you said, institutionalized. There's certain things that you just will never stop doing. I can't say never, but there's a lot of things and habits that I have today that I still have. One big thing is respect. I've lost a lot of jobs since I've been out because I won't tolerate somebody talking to me a certain way. When you're in there, that's just something you can't. It's kind of different because in the military, shit, when you go through basic training, fuck. I tried to enlist. I tried to go to the Marines, but I had a possession charge of Valium when I was 15. And he said, man, you could have a robbery and I could have got you in. But because it was a drug charge, nope.
Can't. For 15 years old,
and
though?
See, I had a battery that locked me up for 2 years in CYA, and I was able to enlist. I was able to become a recruit.
If it's a drug charge, they frown. I don't know about now. This was in like 1997.
I
went
2000
in 98. So yeah. So I don't know about now, but back then, they frowned on like drug charges big time.
I'm gonna pull up DC. I think this is honestly my
I'm
first time.
I'm gonna mute up and cam off, man.
Irish has got some good. All right, brother. DC's got some good input. Love this cap.
All right.
He was in Kuwait.
Kuwait. Okay.
Yeah.
DC.
And RJ, sorry to cut you off, but RJ, what years were you in Afghanistan?
11, 12, 13, 14.
Okay, I was in there before you. I deployed in 04.
Oh, you were in the initial push.
Yeah.
So you saw a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, DC Irish, thank you for coming up, brother man. Welcome.
Hey man, you guys are young. Let me tell you that. You guys are saying the 2000s, man. Come on, bro. 91 for me.
Oh, I forgot you saw the last woolly mammoth die.
You know, I hung some pugs from behind the boat. You know,
Back when the army was using atlatls and fucking slings. All right. So what's that?
that's not funny.
You're like, hey man, arrows are effective.
They were, you know. I mean, crossbows and shit.
So what's up, brother?
Nothing, man. Nothing. I've just been listening. You know, just watching and seeing what's going on.
Do you mind if I kind of touch on a comment that I noticed you had left? There's nothing on this panel, man. You're your own man, and I don't even have to give you this. But if there's anything I ask you don't want to answer, you can tell me go fuck myself. All right. But
Go for it,
you
brother.
said you said this conversation's bringing up a lot of shit in me.
Go fuck yourself.
I know. Okay, I was waiting. I was hoping it was going to be like all at once or a musical, but thank you.
Hey,
Irish, I love you, bro.
Fetty knows how I feel about certain things. Yeah.
I love you, bro.
I love you too, brother.
What either you answer which either part or both? Like, what was the part of the conversation that had you thinking something that I don't know what the word is, but had you maybe thinking back?
Getting into my feelings.
Yeah.
Just a lot of shit just lately. I mean, I just had a lot of built up. I just got back to Belize. You know, fuck, man. I just arrived yesterday. Oh, it's Friday, and what's today? Sunday already. Tomorrow's Monday. Jesus. But yeah, just a lot of built up tension, man. Just traveling and leaving the country, and my illnesses and sicknesses, and getting lung transplants in the last year, and it's the new 2023. It's the new me. I don't believe in all that shit, but
It's good to hear somebody else say that. Thank you.
You know, I'm not a fan of the new year, new me thing. It should be a new year, new you every day for everybody. You know, every day is a new day. You know, it don't need to be a new year. It needs to be a new day. But I don't know. It's just a lot of built up shit. You know, I'm down here alone. I ain't got my dog with me. I had to leave her home this trip. So,
Oh,
you know,
Luna.
yeah, I got no Luna with me. Yeah, she's home back in Florida.
Did you bring your cricket with you?
Nah, I think I don't know. Hopefully, my son shot that fucker with the shotgun.
For those of you who don't know, Irish has this cricket that follows him around for some reason, and the thing's the size of a fucking Labrador. It looks like
I've been trying to get him to hit it with buckshot for 2 years now.
Dude, it looks like I swear it looks like, from hearing it on stream, I swear it looks like the freaking things from Starship Troopers. The thing's 9 feet tall. It's insane.
I started a cricket ASMR channel on my YouTube, bro. Yeah. So go figure. Hey man, I got to try something, right?
Well,
I mean, I've been on YouTube for 9 years.
Do you have a
the howler monkeys or something special? Yeah, it's under my name. I've had a YouTube channel for 9 years. I got about 70 people that watch it and about 5 videos. Maybe more than 5.
I've known of you, but this is kind of, I'd consider almost like my first time officially meeting you, and thank you for gracing the panel here.
Right on, bro.
You said like a transplant. You're man, I hate
lung
getting
transplant.
people.
Yeah.
You just had that done?
Yeah. Or the early part of last year, 2022 March, I had double lung transplant. I was lucky enough to have.
Yeah, he's Army, so
I was
all that
lucky.
air conditioning he was breathing.
Yeah, I was on a lot of oxygen for a long time before that. I got COVID New Year's of 2022, going into 22. Not this one, but last year. But yeah, and then I got bronchitis, and it hit me really bad. And I was already working off of one lung, anyways. I was pretty injured when I was in the Army. So, but yeah, it kind of screwed me up for a while, and my other lung, my existing lung, kind of decided it was done with me for a while and took a shit on me, and I ended up in a transplant center for a while, and after a while, I got a donor, and an amazing family that I was able to get their families, their member, their family's lungs. And so yeah, it all affects me. I'm an emotional type of person.
Yeah.
I got a lot of
I just
empathy.
popped-
So
I just popped your link in the chat too. So anybody who wants to subscribe to Irish, it's in the chat.
Thank you.
awesome. I
I'm going
appreciate
there
that. Man.
right
Dude,
now.
I
I am
really,
subscribed.
I really don't have much going. There's videos of me fishing. There's some videos of my kids on their skateboards and dirt bikes, and that's really about it. There's not much.
Well,
I'm adding. There's a couple cricket ASMR videos, but
hey man, it's turning up this year. Okay, this year is the year of the DC Irish Cricket Channel ASMR style. It shall be so.
what I really want to do is push my channel that I have hundreds and hundreds of videos, hours of videos of fishing down here in Belize. I'm in Belize right now. I got here Friday night. But yeah, I really want to push the Belize channel. We do have a YouTube channel. If you look up Blue Bonefish Fishing Resort in San Pedro Island, Belize, we do have a channel, but it
I
hasn't
didn't even
been
know that.
updated. It hasn't been updated in almost a year and a half or so.
So I got
And it
my
was
cell phone at the ready. Which channel do you want linked?
Blue Bonefish.
Okay, I'll look that up and put it in.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, so I can kind of introduce, whatever you're willing to share to the audience, to myself. You were in the military at in '91. I have a feeling. No, that's when you were deployed. Like, what's kind of your general background? Because I'm a complete layman here.
All right. Yeah. No, I was military. I went in '91. I went out. I was in the county jail from '90 to middle of '91, and I was getting ready to turn 18 in July of '91, and I was in Broward County.
Oh
It
snap!
was the first.
Close.
Yeah, I'm a Broward dude. I told you I'm a Broward dude, bro. I grew up in Miami. I grew up in Cutler Ridge for a long time, and then I moved up to Broward.
And he's
And
airborne too.
yeah, yeah. But I ended up in trouble on some bullshit charges. When I was 17, and ended up going to the county jail. And that's when Broward County started their boot camp program in '91, early '91. And I was the first. It was a 90-day program. It was a 120-day program. But if you did 90 days good, they let you out after that on
Irish, I don't mean
probation.
to cut you off, but is it Blue Bone Fish Lodge?
Yep.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, that's the one, bro.
Yeah, only 4 videos on it?
Yeah, there's only a couple.
Cool. Well, I'm subscribed now, so.
Right on. And we're going to be posting a lot more stuff on that channel too. We got a lot of shit in the works. We got an editor and everything, so
Cool. I'm putting the link in the
through
chat right now for anybody who wants to subscribe. I'm putting the link in the chat right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
Mike,
make it so.
The co-owner of the resort down here is a really good friend of mine. Her and her husband. She's about to have a kid any day now, so it's a little busy and hectic right now down here. But we got it. But yeah, we're going to be posting up some good stuff very soon. But yeah, back to where I was. Yeah, now I was in the county jail, and I ended up in the boot camp program for Broward County when I was 17, and ended up 91 was happening. Desert Storm was just starting. Desert Shield was going on actually, and yeah, and my instructors were like, dude, you got an opportunity. You're doing really good here, so might as well try to see what we can do, because otherwise you're going to be on probation for the next 3 or 4 years and probably 5 years. I had to do some more time because I had other pending charges. So they got me in there, and yeah, I enlisted and went straight off to Fort Knox, and then up to Fort Bragg. I was 82nd Airborne.
I love how you slip that in at the end, like, oh, by the way, I was 82nd Airborne.
I mean, well,
It's like, yeah, Special Forces, bad motherfucker.
Yeah,
it's not even the Special Forces.
I know, I'm just fucking saying, you slip that Airborne is still, you enter that bad motherfucker range.
It's Airborne.
just a pre-warning. I can see my connection Sorry. So, my connection is
It
fluctuating.
might be
So if I
mine.
go silent, y'all will be fine. But airborne. See now, a layman like me that don't know jack. I'm only going off of Band of Brothers here. That's is that Army or is that's not Air
It's
Force,
Army.
right?
Yeah.
Army.
That is Army.
It's
Army.
Army.
And so
And
you
I was 82nd. So when you see the red patch with the double A's AA on there,
Yeah,
that's
Alcoholics
82nd
Anonymous.
All American.
No, it's Alcoholics Anonymous. It's not All American.
Now watch yourself. I can use some of the meetings right about now.
how long did you end up serving, and did you discover that it was something you loved, or was it something that you
Just dealt with. Is that
I
weird?
think
I
maybe
think his
he froze
internet
up.
just took a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So while he's gone,
yeah.
I feel like I should let you know that Eli has this rash, and Eli's been trying to deal with it, but he doesn't really know how, and he doesn't know how he got it. But if anybody
tried-
knows anything about skin conditions, it's probably a good idea to contact Progressive Patriot. You know,
So you can pay for his venereal diseases.
yeah, he needs
Yeah,
help.
he's tried
He
various
has-
creams and they're not working.
There's this itching, burning sensation. He doesn't really know. Oh, hey, buddy.
Oh, hey,
What's up, bro?
Talk baseball.
there we
Progressive's
go.
back. Hey, what's up, dude?
Now I know there was some shit talking there. Okay, I know damn
Never
sure.
that.
No, not you guys. That was just what am I thinking? Of
Yeah,
course
that's
not.
not real. I don't know what's going on with that.
All right, did he happen to answer? Did my question come out? How long did you serve? Was it something that you ended up like? Did you want to be there? And how long did you serve? I'm sorry.
No, I really did want to be there. Yeah, and I only did about 9.5, almost 10 months before I went overseas and I got hurt in Kuwait. And then I ended up spending the next 7 months in the hospital, and Walter Reed up in Baltimore. And then after that, I got released, medically discharged, and I came home. And they just shipped me right back to South Florida. And it fucked me up.
The shipping back or the injury, this area I can relate in my own way. I had what's known as an advanced form of pneumonia called ipaema. It's a Latin term. They had to take out a chunk of my lung, drain them. It took 3 months to recover to be able to walk again. I was in ICU for like 12 days. That the lungs, man, it ain't fun to deal with.
No, I was in Walter Reed for 7 months. I was in Ramstein Air Base for 3 months, in Germany, after I got hurt. Yeah. So from Ramstein for 3 months, I flew back to Walter Reed in Baltimore for 7 months, and I was medically discharged out of Walter Reed in the beginning of 2000 or 2000. Fuck, man. Yeah, 2002. No, 92. My bad. My years are always fucked up. But yeah, after Walter Reed, I mean, I came home and I was right back in Miami, and I got into a lot of shit right away. So, and it wasn't good. And I ended up getting locked up for a long time. I did more time in prison than I did in the military, so it's a big difference for me. And I really wish I would have been able to do a career in the military, because I still wish I was still there. I have friends of mine that are just now retiring the last couple of years from now. The last few years, I have friends of mine that I actually joined the military with that are getting out after 30 plus years. And they're retiring and they're doing, yeah. And it's like, fuck, man, I see these guys all the time online, and it's like, man, I really wish I had that opportunity to just stay in as long as they did. But I got out and I fucked up, and it was my own path.
I mean, a medical discharge is one of those things, man. It's like, at a certain point, I was told I could, you can do this, you could have a desk job, and my attitude was, I'm a fucking Marine. I'm not a 111 or something. I'm not going to be a desk jockey. And now it's like I think about it, and I'm like, fuck, I'd rather be doing that than, there's a certain type of, you become used to a certain type of order and schedule that you don't get.
You would never catch me behind a desk, bro. I can't be inside. I'm an outside person. I have to be outside. The running, pushing paper, all like that. That's jockeying it. Nah, I'm good.
0351 and 0321.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gentlemen,
nah.
if you don't mind asking, CBC Anon is a fantastic channel. Please check it out. What was your MOS to every individual that can answer that?
11 Bravo. That's easy.
12 Bravo.
Yeah, I got nothing. But okay. And shout out to New Age Plug, by the way. So you kind of answered the question I was going to ask you that I started out with. Your reacclimation of civilian life. Were you able to kind of identify with some of the answers I got from both RJ, Fetty, Forging about that disdain for civilians, or just maybe that anger? I should say.
100%. Yeah, 100%. When I first like I said, when I first came home from the military, it didn't take me long before I got locked up. So, and I was locked up for over a decade. Fetty kind of hit it on the point earlier. I did a lot. But yeah, coming home from after prison, man, just being on the streets, listening to people, how the people talk, how people interact with each other, how people act, even when they're by themselves, how they stand on their own. It's weird, man, because there's some fucked up people out there. Excuse my language, but there's some real jacked up people out there on how people act to other people and the lack of disrespect. If somebody was to talk to me, nowadays I kind of let a little bit of stuff slide because I've been home for 20 years. I haven't been in trouble in forever. This is a long time ago. But yeah, even to this day, somebody can't just come out their side of their neck talking weird. I'll take offense to it real fast. And I'm in a whole different country nowadays, and everything, is a little different, but
I
it's
find it's a
still,
double-edged sword though too, because
yeah,
not to
it
cut you
is.
off. I found myself. I have gotten myself in trouble in the opposite direction, like in my professional life, because there's a certain amount. If an individual comes at me sideways, I'll take
You
flight
can
on them.
only take so much.
But if
Yeah,
you're in a business, like if you're in a job, or if you take a job where you're low man on the totem pole, you take a certain amount of shit that goes with it. As far as shit rolls downhill, and you take orders and whatnot, that maybe you should stand up for yourself. I've found that to be an issue.
yeah,
I just take certain orders and certain things that maybe I should be like, well, stand up for myself a little bit more than I do.
right. You
So it's
can
kind of
only
a
take
double-edged
so
sword.
much. Yeah, you can only take some. You can only get pushed so much, and especially from a civilian point of view. And I'm a civilian. I don't. A lot of people might say, there might be something different. I'm a civilian. I've been a civilian for a really long time, and I'm not gonna put up with anybody's shit. You know, it's just it's not in my nature, and it's something that I can't let go. I'm sure Fetty, he can probably agree with that because he's been through it also. And I mean, maybe not the military side, but man, it goes a long way.
Yeah, the pressure to, I think, wanting to respond in the way that you would in the circumstances you all are accustomed to is amplified. I'm in a job where I have to eat shit, and I do definitely stand up for myself more than I should. But I think nowhere to the degree where you guys restrain
Sure.
yourselves. So just
Yeah.
generic respect for that.
Well,
I,
see, the thing is a lot of times too, like in my situation, especially, back in California before I moved to Florida, and here in Florida too, couple locations. But I mean, you see my tattoos and you see a lot of my ink is gang related, and
Sure.
it's employers automatically know that I'm a convict. I was in prison. I mean, it's just that's written all over my fucking body. And I've tried wearing long sleeves, but when you're doing construction, it's hard to sit there in long sleeves in the sun. And so
Yeah.
I wear short sleeves, whatever. If they don't like it, they don't like it. But they'll use that to their advantage sometimes. Some people are assholes like that. And they'll think, he's a convict. He ain't got no other opportunity. Well, fuck you. I'm a go getter. I'll go get something better.
Right.
So I have a short fuse when it comes to people talking real disrespectfully and recklessly. to me on the job site and shit. Now, as far as like forging, maybe what you're talking about, I don't know if you're talking about like just like we fuck around on the job site and talk shit to each other, and you know what I mean, and but there's a difference between that and just being flat out disrespectful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can agree with that. Absolutely. Irish.
No, just making sure you're still there. Good?
Who?
DC? Or do we lose him?
He might be back. He'll come back. He's
Okay.
in Belize, so his internet sometimes.
He might be fighting a sea monster.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome that you said he's airborne. He gets to travel just like does he have a fucking plane or something?
No,
he was
he's
an
gonna jump
airborne
out of-
ranger.
It means he can infect people without touching them.
Yep.
Oh, word. And great, my connection is dropping here. Okay.
He's got a
word.
shitty connection. He might be having to deal with that.
Hey, you don't know who that is? Progressive?
What, DC?
Yeah.
I have seen him around for quite some time, but I don't think we've ever really had a one-on-one.
That's like my brother right there, bro. Like I've met him in person. He was rocking with me before I moved to Florida. And then when I came out here, I found out he was out here in Florida, and man, me and him, yeah, he's like a brother to me, bro.
Yeah. So how I met Joey was Fetty. He had his own channel. He was still out in Cali, and I was just going through a neck surgery. I was getting my neck disc replaced from my C3 to C7. I was going on a full neck disc replacement, and I had never really been on YouTube for much, but I figured it out because I was stuck on a couch for a few months and couldn't move, pretty much paralyzed, and that's how I ended up really watching a lot of the YouTube stuff. And ever since then, I've been stuck, man.
Yeah, man, he's been rocking me for a minute, man. So when I moved to Florida, I met him, and I met a few good people off the channel, but Irish is one of the people that I'm closest with as far as out here in Florida.
We've been to each other's house.
Yeah, there's Richie Poe is another good person out here that I've met in person. But Irish is good people, Eli. Very good dude.
Something I would like. Just wanted to let some of the audience know that some of us that you see here, and then there's going to be more of us, more platformers, people trying to hold down, maintain a channel, to grow it, or just to do whatever. We're going to be rotating channels, so we can just keep on building like a family. So please, if you haven't already, check out and subscribe to Forging Thought, to Breaking Fetters. Their links will be dropped by the mods in here.
I put them just above in the chat. They're just above here a little bit.
Thank you, D. Libby, for the thank you. We no longer call it the Super C here because somebody ruined it for everybody. Let me put it up here.
I don't even know why you bring that part of it up.
Because I want to make it awkward for you. All right, no.
10 seconds. Give it to them.
Thank you for sharing your story. Sorry to disrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just saying thank you to Stevie.
Hey, and I gotta step in real quick. Slim Reaper, if your dad was a ball turret gunner in World War II, holy shit. Respect to that, man. That is oh god.
I just read that myself. That's bad.
I got to speak to him on the phone, man. He's got I'm very actually, RJ, I want you to reach out to him, but that will be discussed in more detail later. D. Libby, thank you for sharing your stories on the panel and those in chat. Thank you for your service. Thank you to all of you. Slim is a good man, and I do believe, RJ, specifically, this being your specialty, I need to get y'all in touch with one another. So I think I got the blessing from each side. I need a phone number.
For those that don't know, sorry to cut you off, but for those that don't know, the reason I brought that up and brought it in so hard is ball turret gunner. There was this half ball that looks like R2-D2's head underneath the old, flying fortress planes of World War II.
Yep.
And you essentially got crammed in there in the fetal position, unable to do anything for several hours at a time. And they wouldn't know your status until the plane landed and they were able to open up the hatch to see if you were alive or not. Usually they would open up the hatch and just find, essentially
nothing.
You not there. So it was one of the most dangerous jobs during World War II, and respect to that, man.
What kind
that's
of gun did he fire? What kind of gun did they?
It was a dual 50, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Dual
believe it's
50?
either dual 50 or the 7.62, but I'm pretty sure it was just a dual 50.
Yeah, I think it was a dual 50. And on
That's
like
I
either
insane,
side of your
dude.
body, you had belt feds coming down, and I mean,
Yeah.
you had no room in there to operate.
brief
That's
cut off.
insane,
DC
man.
got dropped down, put him back in, and thank you, Mickey. Much love and respect to all on panel and those in chat that have served, and welcome back, DC.
I apologize. Yeah, I was trying to look up the chat and I just scratched myself off. Hey, and I also apologize. Hey, RJ, my name's DC Irish One. I appreciate and respect you, brother. Thanks for your
Appreciate
service,
you.
man.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, you damn jarheads were something else back in the day.
RJ's Army.
Army.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
you was Army?
Yeah, 12 Bravo.
Oh shit! Oh, that
I'm
was
the
you.
only
That
one.
said that.
Hey,
Okay.
I'm the only one enjoying crayons on this fucking panel so far.
Hey, I bet you $5. Do you know where that comes from?
I couldn't hear you.
Talking to Forging Thought, the crayon thing. Do you know where that comes from?
To tell you the truth, I mean, I've heard a bunch of different origins, but what are you thinking?
All right, so I'm probably one of the only Army guys that know this. Circa
Oh.
1990s or late 2000s, a sorority showed up to the barracks in Camp Lejeune dressed as crayons.
Yeah, I heard that.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, that's after my time.
All I know is crayons are delicious.
Yes, they are.
You lick
Oh,
paint
I
off
was
the
going to say
wall.
that's an active part.
For people who don't know, that we rib each other, but people like to say that the Marines eat crayons.
Well, you do.
Oh,
I mean, they're delicious.
And
I mean,
paint
I
off
was
the
gonna
wall.
say,
We got to do something while we're waiting for you to show up.
Bitch, please.
What do we were already there. We were already there, man. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
You're right, I guess, because Recon, you wouldn't know we were there because we were never there.
Yeah.
Everything's just already dead when you show up. Anyway,
all right, real quick. This is pretty generic. All right, I'm trying to I don't know. I want to very much let this go free flow, but when it comes to the VA, okay, and your experiences with it, RJ and I speak a lot about how they can improve, and he tells me about the different models. In my not small part, I sell liquor for a living, and it just so happens that VA workers and veterans come every day, and
I
I
get
get
it.
to hear both sides. What was your experiences? What do you think could be done better? And we do have some people outside of this country asking what it's like to be served by the VA over here in stateside.
I don't have any VA benefits.
You should
Yeah, most people would say that, but
get my number.
Yeah.
I put it in the private chat. Get my number. I'll help you out.
I've had lawyers for the last 25 plus years try to help me out, and there's not much they can do because of my charges that I caught when I went to prison.
with
I
respect,
had
though, when was the last time you tried? Because things have changed.
Yeah.
Shit, man. The last time I tried was probably 18 years ago, 17
Look into it
years
again.
ago, right around there.
Things changed in 2009. They also
Um,
changed in 2016.
Yep. We can
yeah,
get
no, I haven't tried since way before then.
yeah, because you should be 100% service connected. From what you told me and
Yeah,
what it
I would think so too. I mean,
So-
I have a lot of my service records my wife has on file and shit, and she's saved. And there's not much I've really tried to push with the agenda with. I mean, I was getting my 2 cortisone shots a year from my back, and then they found out I got my marijuana card, and they told me to go fuck myself about 2 years ago. Yeah,
CP ain't
so.
joking.
They're not joking. And, and my VA rep, he was okay. He was a good dude. I had him for over 10 years, and he ended up leaving the job. I'm not sure. He went to private hospital, I believe. And,
Bullshit. No, that's not the case. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not okay. Yeah, I wanted to respectfully
yeah, I got a
ask.
medical. Yeah, I got a medical discharge.
If you got a medical, then it should be pretty much in stone.
Yeah,
you-
general
you-
medical in your 14 should be enough to get it. You know, because things have changed in 2009, 2016, things changed quite a bit. So you might be able
Mhm.
to get it
Yeah,
now.
I was medically discharged in '92, so
It wouldn't
It
matter if it was
doesn't
62.
matter. It doesn't
yeah.
matter. It changed.
Wait, okay. I need to get a grasp on this. Are you saying this aspect has changed? They could take your benefits just for you applying for medical marijuana? Has that
Yes.
changed?
A lot of
Yes.
things have changed. The VA changed a lot of their policies several times over, and those were the two big years that I remember. Because with mine, I had my medical shit, and they were able to, you know, there was my disability got appealed several times. Because
My
I know guys who were Army who twisted their ankle in Alaska and were 100%. So
well, my issue wasn't me being medically discharged. I was medically discharged, but when I came home from the military in '92, in the beginning of '93, I caught my case, which was a federal case of
not
it was a lot of firearm stuff.
bullshit for saying
Um,
not true. No, not
yeah,
true.
I was convicted of armed robbery and a lot of federal firearms charges. So they kind of really wanted to disown me at that time, and I pretty much gave up all my rights as far as being a veteran and any disabilities they were going to give me. So,
You
Bullshit
should-
for which part are you saying isn't true?
oh no, I was convicted of all of it. I mean, I did the time.
I think Forging is responding to bullshit for
Yeah, bullshit in the comments is saying a bunch of different statements about something being false, but I'm wondering what they're talking about.
Oh,
I
you know, no,
he's maintaining that he has the medical marijuana card. And
I just got
gets
my
to-
medical marijuana card when it
I don't know.
became legal in Florida a year and a half ago, right around there, 2 years ago.
They
Yeah.
changed the rules with that, and yes, they did take away benefits if you had a medical marijuana card because the medications that they were prescribing you are exacerbated by the cannabinoids. Now
Cannabinoids.
they've changed it.
is the full VA
Yes,
benefits.
they changed it not too long ago. You can have a medical marijuana card. It's just like in the state of Florida. They had a myth going around. You can't have a concealed weapon permit and a medical marijuana card. I had both.
Yeah,
Well-
wait. Okay, can you confirm that for me now? Conceal carry, and I've been waiting on DeSantis to do something with this, but I don't have a
You
medical.
can have
marijuana.
both.
You can have
can
both
have-
in the state of Florida.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's not DeSantis that makes that decision. It's it's whoever's running agriculture.
And just so you know, I don't have my firearms license. I cannot, and I'll never own a firearm legally, not in the United States. I live in Belize now. I have
He
an
believes
AR.
he has a tank.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
he's got
I
a
wish.
And an
I
AK.
wish. Nah, it's an M400, but it's close.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's laying next to me, and my Glock 19 and Glock 23, and
I got all these Glocks.
I live in Belize though, so. But at home, there's no weapons carrying for me. I don't have firearms, and I gave up pretty much most of my VA rights, probably close to 5 or 6 years ago, before I had my neck surgery 3 years ago. So, yeah,
Are
you know,
are
I'm
all the
not really in
surgeries related to
that.
injuries from your deployment, or was it just a lung thing, or was it more than that?
My lung issue was, and I had my lung transplant last year, but I've had other issues. You know, I'm a skydiver. I've done a lot of skydiving, hurting myself a lot over the years, motorcycle wrecks. But yeah, most of my stuff was pretty much from Kuwait in '91 when I was injured. But they don't really care, you know. I've had plenty of surgeries. I'll have plenty more over the years. You know, I think I'm on surgery 28 when I get my hand done. Later this year, I'll probably have surgery 29 and 30 before the end of the year. So
So, open question to the panel. Knowing what we know now, could DC over here like reapply for the benefits he has not been able to take advantage of?
Yes.
And
I don't
none of
know.
his issues with the law would impact that, correct?
No, because of the medical discharge, and then what he would have to reapply for, because if he was already receiving benefits because of the medical discharge, all he has to do is resubmit, get it overlooked, and then yes, he should be able to get his 100%.
I do hope that's something you'd look into, man, because
It doesn't cost anything to get in touch with a VA social worker and figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, my VA rep was a real douchebag for the longest. I had the same rep for almost 15 years, and he wouldn't do a damn thing for me, bro.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are you here in West Palm, or where's your next
I live-
largest?
I live in Belize. I was going to West Palm for my VA every time I was going for my cortisone shots. I live my address is a little north, Vero Beach, a little north
Well,
of West Palm.
Vero has a. If you ever go back to Vero, go to that one. Do all the intake process and paperwork and stuff like that. Get your records. It shouldn't be that big of a deal, and you should be able to get it if if everything is on the level.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you.
It's their job to figure out the admission, evaluation, treatment, and follow-up processes of everything that has to do with any veterans' needs that are not dishonorable or otherwise.
My
if you're
biggest thing
medical-
is I've always just pretty much avoided them people. I really didn't want any help.
I mean, yeah,
you know,
if you decide to drop off the planet, then yeah, you're not going to get any help because you haven't sought it. But if you seek it,
and
you'll get it.
that's always been my biggest thing. I didn't want any help. I still don't want any help from the fucking
Oh,
people.
well, why are we even talking about it?
I feel like I did what I was supposed to do, and I got what I got, and that's about it.
And now we go live to Irish
on.
wasting our time, Irish.
Nah, we're good. Well, I mean, fuck. I mean, I wouldn't mind. Trust me. My wife is a nurse, and she's been on my ass. I've been married a really long time now, and she's been on my ass for a long time about getting, help about it. Especially about.
I mean,
my
there is something to be
anxiety
said about
levels
VA
and
care, but
shit.
if you're after it, you'll get it. But there's certain things to be said. That I feel like the care that I've gotten with private insurance has always been much better than I've gotten with the VA for just about everything.
And I have private insurance through my wife, so yeah.
I mean, there's a reason I have vision care through the VA, but at the same time, I go to Costco. There's just something to be said about VA care.
Right, 100%. No, I get it, man. No, I understand, and I appreciate the shit out of all that. But it's just nothing I've always pushed. I've never pushed it, so I'm not really sweating it, I guess. I don't know. Maybe one day I should. If I start to fall apart, like I've already been falling apart for decades now.
I mean, you're already pushing what, 86, 87?
79. Just shut up.
Okay, all right. So you're still young, still wet behind the ears. All right.
I still got a little left in me.
Ain't gonna take you out back like old Yeller, right?
Not yet.
Here's the confusion from she's in Australia. She doesn't understand. She finds a lot of trouble understanding our government's policies and the lack of care for citizens and veterans, especially. I don't understand your government's policies for VA. Where is the respect? Well,
can I chime in?
Yeah,
it is still TRICARE, yes.
All right, so here's the deal. The VA's job is to suck up exuberant amounts of money and provide minimal help so that way they can expand their thing. It's just like an insurance company. They want to keep all the money so that way they can, say, hey, if they don't use all that money by the end of the year, guess what happens? Next year, they don't have it. So every year, their job is to spend that money and then some.
If you've ever seen the movie Falling Down and he asks why the road is broken, and the guy says, well, the road is messed up. He's like, no, last week the road was fine. Why is it tore up now? And then he gives a description of how they need the same amount of money put out this year or they won't get the same amount next year. It's the exact same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, great movie, by the way. Watch it.
Fantastic movie. I own that, of course.
Interesting.
Would
you probably have it on
Betamax,
you dork.
Of course, well, I'm King Geek, so you mean that? Yeah, okay. Anyway, all right. I do have a video. It's kind of, I would say, off the cuff because it's not really related to what we've been discussing, but I think it's something we'd all take some interest in. Can you guys see that? No, I haven't added it. Give me a moment. Sorry. I'm an amateur. There you go. Big fractals.
Jesus.
I know. All right. Now, but you can see just one solid screen at this point, or do I have to change anything? Hold on. Let me see if
Careful.
Nope.
All your windows are showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. There's
Grinder,
nothing
what
to
the
be
fuck?
hidden. Ah, by George.
Why did he have
Ugh.
Grinder on there?
I don't know. That was weird.
was
Don't
odd.
touch my grinder. All right, this will have to do it. Now, if I go
Aggressive
just to
password.
here, can you guys see it okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. All right, shut the hell up. So this was kind of recent, and this
Eli, what's
is
Pony Play?
do not. What is it that Seafell says? Don't kink shame me. Open-toed slippers, sensible salmon, safe word. So all right, this is something that has come up recently. All right, don't forget sensible salmon. Do not hail Dave. All right, something I'm a big fan of regarding DeSantis, and I'm not trying to go political, but I love his stance. He's the only Republican I've ever voted for in my life thus far.
Me too.
He want, yeah, right. Well, wow.
I just got my voting rights back a couple years ago because of DeSantis. So
Amen to
yeah,
that. Hell yeah. He
I-
is
first time I
advocating
ever
for it,
voted.
and he promised that he would make Florida. I hope I'm not misquoting, an open carry state. Something to that effect. Constitutional carry. Thank you.
Eli, what point were you making with this page you're opening? I'm hungry.
Well, damn it! I just wanted to show, this video, and I want constitutional carry. By the way, and you're not going to see anything too triggering. You're going to see the moment before, but this little bastard right here comes in, and he's get a nice haul, going to rob everybody.
Triggering.
And we got one guy that's prepared.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
Yeah.
RJ, is that a shepherd, RJ?
No, it's a Malinois.
Okay, even better.
It's actually half elk.
No, it's a
Yeah.
fucking methamphetamine T-Rex.
I
He's trying
love
to
it.
eat
Florida?
Good stuff. Why
Can
is it
we
got to be
guess-
Florida, bro?
He said meth and T-Rex.
That's
Well,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, he did say
that's cool.
Rex.
Look
Y'all
at
want
this
to
guy
guess?
at the front door. Here they come. They pushing in. Here they come.
Can you guess who the one that's gonna reach and save the day is?
I
Baldy.
just hope you push play soon.
Oh, shut the hell up,
The
Montana.
bald
All
guy.
right, here we go.
That's the
Well, I
bald
heard
guy
Rex.
sitting there.
Bald guy.
Let's see.
Yeah, no, you got it dead to rights, my man. It's gonna be an easy day today. Oh,
I don't.
You can always tell.
well, go ahead. Feel free. There's no sound here.
Oh, he just dropped something. Oh, yep, bald
Oh,
guy.
yeah, that was money.
Game on. Bull. Hey, you play stupid games.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you guys want to freestyle a conversation, by all means, feel free.
How
There's
the
just
fuck are
a
you going to
couple of.
sag in skinny jeans?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah,
man,
well-
but it's fucking disgusting.
Hold on. Let me
It's-
get out of this.
Like, I'm going to
All
paint
right.
these on,
All right.
except right here and here.
How do
Yep.
you even run in those?
I don't know. When I was a kid, we had Jinko jeans, and you could fit a 2-liter in the pocket.
You
You
can
could
put,
put
you can
four
put a sawed
people
off
in
torque.
them.
Yeah.
You could put 4 people in them Jankos.
Sneak your homeboy into the fucking movie theater in your pocket.
I miss Jinkos. I miss the
Jinkos.
90s. I miss the
I mean, I was
damn
half
it.
joking.
And I
there,
don't
but
get. I don't get. No. I freaking love the Jinkos and skater.
I had
all
one
that
pair
crap.
of Target brand Jinkos, and I wore them like 6 times, and they were cool because I was a fat kid, and they fit me without a belt, so I felt terrible about myself. But
Were we all wallet chain fellas back in the high school days?
I still have a wallet chain.
Yeah, me
I
too.
am
I
a
didn't go
grown
to
up.
high school. Yeah. I didn't go
did.
to high school.
I dropped out, went back. But
I had a
I
wall
did
chain
something
in middle school.
in middle
went-
school. I did something I thought was cool, and it was really stupid. I cut a hole in the pocket of my pants and put a gold chain through it. Yeah, this is 6th grade. I was from New York.
What?
Yeah, I was like, hey, all the kids are wearing like chains. How do they do that? I don't have a wallet with a chain. Yeah, so there you go. Good old
I went to
90s.
Coconut went through high school in ninth grade and that for about 2 months and said, fuck that shit.
So what he's
Damn,
not telling you is that gold chain was attached to his fucking Prince Albert.
dude, you weren't supposed to tell
No,
anybody
what he's
about
not telling
that.
you is the rest of him looked like freaking Ice-T in the movie Breakin'.
I forgot that. I'm just, man, you really started something with this damn Hail Dave crap. There's gonna be a cult. And something's gonna happen. It's gonna be this Dave fella's fault. Just mark my words.
Do not
I
eat
wear
the cat.
Huskies. Did I wear Huskies? I'm ashamed.
You know, I really miss concerts too. By God, just thinking about all the old times.
You know,
right
they
now.
still have those. You're allowed to go to them, sir.
Yeah, I know. I'm old. I work a lot, and
Literally all you have to do is stand there. It's music that comes at you.
I want to see if I can mosh like the good in days.
Holy shit! How's
They
the
just
chat
do the
doing?
rowboat now, you know?
Hey,
Do the row.
I'm gonna be back in Florida in March 3rd. Actually, I'll be flying back March 2nd. March 3rd in Orlando. Just so you know, Eli. Dropkick Murphys is playing at the House of Blues in Orlando.
Oh, no shit.
I don't know if you know who the Dropkick Murphys are, but they're that's my ringtone on my phone. So I'll be there. So I'll be coming home in March, beginning first couple days of March. I will be back in Orlando. So if anybody wants to meet up, House of Blues, Dropkick Murphys concert, March 3rd.
That's something that we've been discussing for a bit now recently about all of us being able to have a nice little gathering. And I would love for that to be at a concert, really anywhere. But I had no idea how close some of us really are on the map here.
Yeah.
That would be kick-ass, taking this whole community thing to the next level. You know, it's kind of one of my...
Except for Forging, he's got to cross the country, one side to the other to hang out with us.
I have a Harley Davidson. I'll enjoy it.
What kind?
All right.
I have an 03 Road King, a 95 Wide Glide, a 79 Iron Head, and a 68 Shovel Head.
There he goes.
He got them all. I just got one.
Well, I wouldn't be able to have them all because, money-wise, but I built them all. I went to a Harley dealership, said, let me see all your wrecked Harleys, and you can buy a $14,000 motorcycle for $1,000 because the ones they haven't put out on the floor yet, they consider, quote, wrecked. So, yes, to see those, you can get crazy good deals.
Yep.
Might have to go check that out now.
All right, well, by God, unless you gentlemen want to pick up on any topic, I think it's come to a close. So, yeah, feel free. Final words or anything. The floor is everybody's until I start Sparta kicking you bastards out of here.
Hey, you ain't got to kick me. I'll leave. You guys have a great night.
Thanks for coming up, Irish.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me, man. RJ,
thank you.
I'll say going back to the vet shit, if you have a veteran in your life, someone that's seen combat, and they're coming home, it's said a lot, but a little bit of patience and just listening goes a long ways. And don't ever insert yourself into what you think would be best for them. It's difficult, but
you're right. 100%. And and coming from somebody who's been, I've been married for quite a long time, 20 years now. My wife she's been through it with me, and she has no idea. My wife is just a nurse, she's the most innocent person on the freaking face of the earth, if you ask me. She's so genuine and everything, but she's dealt with a lot of shit with me, coming home and, even from prison and all the shit that she's just had to deal with. I give her 100% props. That girl's put up with more shit than any female should have ever had to have put up with.
And respect to the good ones. If you're the spouse of a military person and you're a decent human being and you didn't go hang out with Jody and shit, then you're a good person. And respect to you.
Exactly. Forging, and that's the perfect way to put it. It respects to all of the females that have put up with our shit. Military vet wives and ex-prison, ex-convict wives. Man, you women put up with a lot from us, and it goes a long way, and I totally respect it. and I appreciate you guys. And on that note, hasta luego.
All right,
Peace be
brother.
that journey. Cool runnings.
That's right.
Thanks for kicking it with us, man. You're always welcome. Thank you, brother.
You guys have a good night.
You too, my
Take
man.
care.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hop off too. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Chat. Thank you very much for having me. Till next time. Ta-ta.
Till next time, man. And if think about it, RJ and I are gonna keep on discussing, topics to maybe be prepared with, and you're always welcome.
For sure, man.
Fortnite.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Y'all have a great
Thanks
night.
for being a
RJ, pleasure
part.
meeting you, man. I wish you had a channel so I could follow you.
You're
And
muted, you fool. It's okay. He had the dogs barking.
Yeah, my Cujo barking. Yeah, I don't
no
have
worries,
a
man.
I don't have a YouTube channel.
Gotcha. Well, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to chatting with you again.
Take it easy, brother.
All right,
Take
take care.
care,
Fetty,
man.
love you, brother.
All right, brother. Love you too, man.
Eli, take care, man.
Take care, bro.
All right, Eli, RJ, pleasure. Thank you for having me up, you guys. RJ, thank you for your service, brother. Progressive, definitely, man. Look forward to doing some more stuff with you guys. And shout out to everybody in the chat showing love tonight. I've been watching you guys. Much love and respect. And you guys have a good night, gentlemen.
Take care, my friend. Thank you so much for being here.
All right, good night.
Take it easy, brother.
RJ, I'm looking forward to this being a thing, okay? Like,
Yeah.
we're in the green phase, and it only can get better. I mean, hell, we can really test the tide and try to make it worse, but no, we can really do something here, and I see something special. I'm sure you would not mind popping on one of their channels.
Oh no.
And yeah,
I'll just be jumping from channel to channel if they let me.
You sure you don't want to make your own channel of any kind?
Dude, I don't know for right now. I got too much stuff on going on in the burner.
Understood. Well, I mean, with that, dude, just knowing you has been a privilege, and I look forward to keep on keeping on. And you're only 52 minutes away. I now have new and improved time PTO, so that vacation time to finally kick it like the good in times, only without all the fighting. It's coming, brother.
Yeah, man. I gotta hit you up. I gotta show you some of the dogs that I've been training and help train stuff too. So
please do, brother. All right, man. It's always awesome, bro. Take care. All right.
All right, bro.
Send my love to the family. Peace.
Well,
let me see. Oh, everybody knows how to let themselves out. I didn't have to Sparta kick anybody. Well, in closing, I just want to say thank y'all for sticking around for this. I know I don't pop on nearly as much as I used to, but I have been. I don't want to keep on, being the dead horse. Always evaluating. Am I really offering anything? And is what I'm doing healthy for me? I always learn and find time and time again the pockets of YouTube that can be toxic, unhealthy, but what's empowering, or dare I say liberating, is recognizing the power of perspective. We can allow things to bother us, bring us down, make us feel weaker or whatever, especially when you're openly suffering with any kind of ailment, be it depression or otherwise anxiety, or you can use these things, not try to conquer them. I don't think it's ever something that you truly conquer, which is a mistake I used to say time and time again. I have conquered anxiety. I don't think that's entirely true. It manifests in different ways, but we learn how to cope. We learn how to cope, and then we bring to the table what we can. And the only way to empower ourselves is to not give those that want to do us harm or wrong any power whatsoever. And with that, I just found this interesting, talking about some of the early 2000s. I once did a video where I featured this, but I don't know why I found this in the garage, and I kind of keep it handy. And it reminds me of a time in our country when there was a lot of, unification. We weren't as divided. Unfortunately, it seems time and time again, it always takes some kind of a damn tragedy to make us realize that we would serve ourselves better if we could really act like neighbors and friends and fellow American citizens and not fall for the whole divide and conquer political theater and theatrics, and just we can get it together. And as long as there is hope, there is life. So if we can try individually, we can try as a group, which is why I'm taking a more of a focus on a community, a family. And it's my first mistake when I started this solo endeavor is treating it like this was the Eli frickin' channel. Okay, serving something greater than myself is something that it's a legacy. It's something that helps me feel like there's a worth. So when it comes to any of the negativity, I can take that. Don't you worry about me. Y'all just focus on bettering yourselves and being a part of a community. And I thank you all for taking the time to be here with us today. I really appreciate it. And wow, thank you, Intuitive Empath. Compliments, they really seem few and far between, but that's only because I have allowed myself, and it's my fault, nobody else's, to hyper focus on the negative. When you really take the time to realize how much positive there is, you look at the forest for the trees, you might just dare and find yourself with a little more gratitude than you do with angst or anger or feeling sorry for yourself. So I thank you for any of the positivity, because it's so much easier to fall into the negativity. It's so much easier to try to tear others down. It's so much easier to be angry and stay angry than it is to extend an olive branch, an apology, or offer open conversation and dialogue. So truly, regardless of the ribbing or where we go and my nonsensical rants, I thank you all for being a part of this very strange journey. Where it'll go, I don't know, but I let you all dictate where and how far this will end up. Much love. Let those unifiers bring us together. See, I don't say it as much, so I forget it. And let a divider be an invitation to conversation, not confrontation. Right now, more than ever, in this country, in this world, we need to have more open dialogue, even if we can agree to disagree. Only then can we hope to speak truth to power. Peace out, guys. Good night. Much love.